All right, welcome everyone. Melody Tao here with Marketing Melody, Marketing Your Way to Success. And we are here for another exciting webinar. This time we're talking about real estate newsletters that sell. I will talk to you about how to create a consistent newsletter to get people to have you top of mind so that when it is time to buy or sell, they think of you. So welcome. I know a lot of you are watching this on replay. So if you're watching this on replay, welcome as well. So to get started, I want to just do a quick welcome so we can kind of get to know who is watching, and then we'll dive right into the content. So first of all, type in the chat, and again, if you're watching the replay, type it in the comments. How many unread emails are in your inbox? Yeah, I know I have a lot. There's two types of people. I feel like people who are able to work with unread emails and just kind of have them pile up, and some people who always have a goal to get them to zero. So take a look at how many unread emails that you have in your inbox and utilize the chat. I am utilizing the chat feature today to really make this interactive. So feel free to type in the chat what the number is, or maybe an estimate of the number. And again, there's no right or wrong answer to this. I just want to get an idea of how many people have unread emails. So next question after the unread emails is, what is something you look forward to getting in your inbox? So I know that for companies that I do subscribe to, maybe restaurants or retailers, I do look forward to getting to know about their promotions, and maybe they have a special deal for me because I'm a subscriber, or some sort of special offer because I'm a subscriber. So anything that is kind of unique, that stands out, that only I can get if I subscribe, I do appreciate those promotions for companies that I subscribe to. Also, if I'm following a business such as a real estate company or a lending company, I like to get information in my inbox that I really can't access anywhere else. So maybe it's the first to know about something, or maybe it is something that I wouldn't have known about until I saw the email. So really getting kind of that sneak peek of information is also something else that I appreciate getting in my inbox. And then last question, I'm just curious, do you already have an email database? This means that you have a place to collect emails where people are able to give you their business card or submit their info, and you're able to reply back and easily add them to a database. So let me know if you have a database. So I see yes, some yeses here. So that's great. If you don't have a database, that is going to be the very first step, and the first thing that I want you to focus on doing after this session is that you have to start building a database. And by database, I don't mean your address book. So I don't mean you have a place on your Google email where you're saving people's addresses, or a place in your phone where you're saving their contacts. I mean having them in a database that you can send out emails to 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people at one time. You have a database that kind of tracks those emails, that can get people to, they can subscribe or unsubscribe. So this is separate from your own personal contacts list or address book. You actually have them in a marketing database, is what I'm referring to when I talk about an email database. If the answer is no, I know not everyone has that, then that's totally fine. That's not a problem. What you can do is start today and start coming up with an organized way to collect emails. So we're talking about real estate here. This can really apply to any industry though, but if you are in real estate and you're doing something such as an open house, or you're doing something such as maybe you're hosting a first-time home buyers webinar or seminar, whenever you are doing something where you're kind of giving something, always ask for people's emails, but not just for the sake of asking. You want to ask for them and then actually save them. And now you have a starting point for your database, people that you can market to, people that you can promote to. Focus on the people that are in your database, not people who unsubscribe. Because if you add people, people are guaranteed to unsubscribe. Don't focus on those, or really look. I don't even honestly look at the unsubscribes, because I want to focus on people that are subscribed and want my information. So don't focus too much on people who are not interested in your information. All right, so now that we kind of have some questions answered, here are some things that you can kind of use to know if you're in the right place today. And so if you are any of these things, it could be all of these things, one of these things, you are definitely in the right place. So if you've never sent out a newsletter before, this is definitely the training that you want to watch. If you have sent out a newsletter, but you don't currently have a strategy on doing it, maybe it's inconsistent, maybe you're doing it sporadically. So if you are doing it sporadically, then this is also a great place for you to be. And if you are number 3, which is you want to generate more leads with emails, then you are also in the right place. So if you want to generate more leads with emails, then this is the place to be. We're not just talking about sending out emails randomly. We want to have a very specific, consistent, and organized plan of what to put in our newsletters and how often we should send them out. So it's not just randomly you're going to be sending out a newsletter. Have a plan to make it work. Now, these stats were taken a couple years ago, but they're still relevant and they are still pretty up to date. So the average open rate for a real estate newsletter is about 19%. So you might say, well, that seems kind of low. However, if you have 100 people in your database and you're getting 19%, that's almost 20 people that are seeing you top of mind, that are opening up your information every single month. If you have 200 people, then that number doubles. Now you're getting 40 people. What about if you have 300 people on your list? Now you're getting triple that. So now you're getting 60 people. Now, social media is great. And as you know, I am a huge advocate of social media, but there are not a lot of Facebook posts you can do where you're guaranteed to get at least 60 people like paying attention, seeing the thing that goes to their inbox. So email marketing, if you build up your list and you are strategic about it, you can really get a lot more eyeballs on it. And it's people that are more engaged. So for me, I've worked on building my list for a few years now. I probably have a few thousand people on my list. Let's say I have 3,000 people. If I have 3,000 people and I'm getting even a 15% open rate, that is still a lot of people that are opening up my emails. That's over 400 people that are seeing my emails or opening up the emails. So the next stat here is the click to open rate. Now the click to open rate are the people who, sometimes people see your email, they don't necessarily open it. This is a little bit lower. People that actually will open it and maybe click through some things inside your email. Even if they don't open it though and click through things, they're still seeing you pop up in their inbox. So it's still valuable, even if they're not necessarily engaging with the email. And then the average unsubscribe rate is pretty low. So it is less than 1%. So when you send out an email, if you have 100 people, maybe 1 or 2 might unsubscribe. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower. But the more people you have, which is why I emphasize really focusing on building it up and emphasize keeping the people that are in your database there, the more people that are on your database, the more likely you'll be to have less unsubscribes, higher open rates, more engaged people in your email list. So I see some people that are just jumping in. Hello to Amy, hello to Christine. Eric is still here. So if you're here, just let me know in the chat when was the last time you sent out a newsletter? Was it recent? Have you never done one? Let me know in the chat. We have a small but mighty group today. So we are going to be able to answer some questions if you have questions one-on-one. So Amy said last month she sent it out. Anyone else? When was the last time you sent out an email newsletter? Erica says last week. Awesome. I love hearing that these are pretty, these aren't really far away. You're not like a year ago or never. But if that is the case, that is okay too. Christine sends out one monthly. So it looks like everyone here so far that's engaging is pretty familiar with sending out newsletters. Okay, so let's keep going to the next slide. The first thing I want to talk about is building your database. Erica says, I try not to spam people. So yes, no one wants to spam anyone. To avoid spamming people, make sure your emails provide valuable content. And in addition to valuable content, don't do it so often where it's every single day. I know some companies do it every single day. I do feel like it's spam, even if it's valuable, if it's every single day. So figure out a balance that works. So all of you here so far, most of you here do have newsletters you're sending out, which means that you have already built your database. So a lot of these things are going to be reminders, but I also want to bring them up even if you have a database, because there are ways to continue growing your database. basic ways that you might already know, but maybe you're not doing it consistently. So, first thing is social media. On social media, we do all these posts and we often don't ask for anything in return. And Erica says some people send newsletters every day or a few times a week. It's too much. I'd subscribe. Yes. So I totally understand that if it's too much for you, or if you're being kind of too in people's faces in their inbox, too much in people's faces, people unsubscribe. So social media is a great way to build up your database. However, social media is not necessarily a place where you're going to just get tons of people signing up. But what you can do is you can tease your newsletters. You can say, hey, I am sharing the top 5 places to take your kids on summer vacation on a budget. And make sure you subscribe to my newsletter, and it'll be in your inbox tomorrow. Or I'm offering a special promotion where you're going to get $100 off this service I'm offering. The only way to get it is if you're subscribed to my newsletter. I'll send it out as soon as you subscribe. So really teasing posts like that in your content and then asking for the subscribe is one way to generate people to subscribe on social media. You can just let people know, hey, send me a message with your email, or you could create a landing page on your website and have a link to the landing page. So with social media, with getting people to subscribe when you are posting content, it's pretty casual. And it's not going to be something where you're going to get a whole lot of people, but you will get some people and you will get people's attention. Okay, so the next thing is a way to take it up a notch when you are on social media and you're marketing on social media. Now, this is what I call a lead magnet. And I know some of you in here, I've worked with you one-on-one. Erica, we've worked together. Amy, we've worked together. And we've talked about creating lead magnets. A lead magnet is something that you are giving in exchange for getting. And in this case, you're going to be giving something in exchange for getting someone's email information. A lead magnet needs to be something that is exclusive, that people cannot just access anywhere. So if you have seen a lead magnet, you're probably saying, hey, type in your email, you'll get a free ebook for the top 10 ways to sell your home fast, or you'll get a training video on the 5 things you can do to improve the value of your home, right? These are things that are going to help you increase value, and they're also things that you can't just get right away, or maybe you don't know how to do them right away. So if you're saying something like sign up and then you are going to get a list of the 5 lenders that I work with, that is not necessarily something that people are going to be excited about, because that is information that they might be wondering, why aren't you just giving me that information? Or why can't I just research my own lender? Okay, so you want to make it something that is kind of a hot topic that people can't easily access, or it's something that will really be able to help them increase the value of their home, be able to sell their home for more. Or again, if you're not working in real estate, it's similar. It needs to be something that can help people do something. All right, and then we also have virtual events. So virtual events, just like what we're doing here, which is a webinar. I'm trying to make it an interactive webinar. You can host virtual events yourself and encourage people to sign up. When people sign up, then you have their email list, that you have their email and you can put it in your email list. So if you are really targeting maybe VA, veteran buyers, you can maybe have a webinar and it says to teach people how they can get started with the VA process, the VA loans process. Okay, so having some sort of webinar where you're teaching requires people to enter their email because you need to follow up with them, but it also gives you an opportunity to be able to get people's emails and give them something valuable like a training or a webinar. So virtual events are a great way to build up your database. And now I want to talk about some examples of things that we've discussed. So lead magnets. How many of you, can you share an example of a lead magnet, maybe that you've seen before, that you clicked on before? Let me know in the chat if you've seen any examples of lead magnets that perhaps you've come across. It doesn't have to be for real estate. It can be for any industry. It could be for, I don't know, a plumber, or it could be a shopping retail company. Okay, so a lead magnet, for me, like I created a social media content calendar that's a blank calendar. I promote it almost every year toward the end of the year because by getting this calendar, you can write in a consistent theme every single month that you're going to be able to post about. And then also you can, oh, I'm going to mute people who aren't here. Have some background noise. You can also, with the calendar, write a content idea every single week consistently. So it's a really great way to organize your social media at the beginning of the year. And I've offered this for completely free of money, but nothing's ever free. So you are giving me your email in exchange for this. So if you have any examples, or if you want to raise your hand and chime in on things that you've been offered or that you've offered yourself, feel free to let me know. So examples of things that you can offer as a real estate agent or as someone who works in real estate: home evaluations, buyer and seller guides, market reports. So market reports, I feel like, are not as exciting because people kind of know that they change all the time. So if I get it today, maybe it's going to change tomorrow, but it is something that people do offer. So those were all of the ways to get started as far as your database goes. Any questions about the database? And feel free to leave it till the end too. I'll stay around at the end for any additional questions. Any questions about the database? And in our trainings with SDAR, we don't have a whole lot of time, so I try to be as efficient as possible. Of course, if you want more information on any of this stuff, then we can always ask questions at the end, or you can reach out to me one-on-one. But email content that converts is the next thing that I want to talk about. So now that we have a database, and now that we have people signing up, wanting to get our information, we still need to make sure that we are able to convert people into giving us a call, setting up an appointment, listing appointment, really taking that next step, whatever that is. We need to do that in the email content. We don't want to spam people, as we mentioned before. Erica says she unsubscribes and people spam, but we do want to make sure that we have content that is able to convert people. So let's see how that might look. Exclusive promotions. I'm a huge fan of exclusive promotions because I personally like to feel special. I know a lot of people do as well. So I like to get things that I can't access anywhere else. And email databases and newsletters are intended for you to be able to create something special and kind of give a bonus for subscribers. So you will often hear me say things like, if you're an email subscriber, you are going to get this special promotion for one of my workshops or sessions that I don't offer on my website. I don't offer on social media. I don't offer it anywhere else except for my newsletter. Personalize your newsletter. So I always like to start off my newsletters with sort of a personal intro of what I've been doing. I might share something about travels. I might share something about my family. I might share something about a holiday that we celebrated. I like to start it off with kind of a personalized touch because I know that people want to get to know me. I don't want to just start off by talking business. I want to personalize it in some way. Now, if you don't want to go there and you don't want to share about your family or your pets or your travels, you can still personalize it by talking about something that the audience and the readers can relate to. So for example, if you're working in real estate and you're thinking, gosh, how can I personalize a newsletter? I'm not really interested in sharing about my personal life on here. Well, you can use things like share a testimonial, share a success story that you've had in business, share things that are positive related to your business, but also give people kind of this positive start and a personalized touch to the intro of your newsletter. So someone can read a testimonial or they can read a positive experience when they first open it. They might feel like they can connect to that experience more and then want to use you. All right, calls to action are really important when it comes to email content that converts. This is something that is really valuable, but a lot of people tend to miss it. So I will see newsletters and I might see people not even asking for a call to action. They might just have some information. They might have a blurb and they might not even ask people to sign up for something or call me. You need to have this readily available in your newsletter so that people know what the next step is. And so we see it all the time. If you're ready to buy or sell, give me a call. Now, many people are not just going to jump from not being interested in a home in, into all of a sudden having wanting to buy a home. And Erica says, I have made this mistake before many times, and that's okay. So we kind of learn, it's trial and error with these newsletters, and what doesn't work, we just try it again and do something different. A call to action, as far as real estate goes, it can be something like take the next step and enter your zip code to find out how much your home could be worth. So maybe it's something very small that you're just entering their zip code and you're giving them a value of what their home might be worth. Or it could be something small like just give me a call and we'll chat for 20 minutes to give you an idea of how much you could get for your home or how much home you could get for what your budget is. Okay, so something small that makes people take that next action is really important, especially when it comes to real estate newsletters. Okay, so now we have information about building a database. We have information about really converting people with the content. Let's talk about segmenting your database. Segmenting your database means that not every single email you send out is going to be relevant for every single person on your database. So if someone has just purchased a home from you and now all of a sudden they don't really need content that's talking to them about buying or selling soon because they're not planning on doing that for maybe another 5-10 years, then I would have those people on a different list in your database, maybe people that have just purchased, because the people that have just purchased do not need the tips on how to get the most for their home. Maybe you have people in your database that are VIPs. So maybe these are the top clients you have, and you always want to stay in touch with your clients because you want to remind them that you're available. So maybe you offer them perks. And I have a client who's really great about doing client appreciation parties. She does them about 3 times a year. Maybe there are people that are VIPs that you want to stay in touch with because they can be a good referral partner. So make your database separate, and you can have one big database, which I do. I have one big database. But for example, when I'm sending out newsletters or updates about my real estate marketing courses, I'm not sending those to people who are in my regular list because they're not going to have a huge interest in selling real estate. Now, the things that I do teach are relevant and valuable for anyone in business. So for what I'm doing, anyone can attend and still get something out of it, whether or not you're in real estate. However, I'm personally just not spending and investing time marketing to that group. I'm marketing to the group of people who are real estate agents who want to improve their marketing. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. We talked about how to segment. You can do clients, prospects, partners, and affiliates. These are just some other ways you can segment your real estate database. Does anyone have any other ideas that they might want to put on this list for segmenting your database? How do you upload different lists on MailChimp? So on MailChimp, when you create your different lists, there is a way to create different lists and add people to different lists. So it's hard to kind of just tell you, but there's a way to do it in MailChimp. They make it pretty easy. Now, keep in mind, it depends on if you have the paid version and how much you're paying. MailChimp used to, when I first started doing newsletters in about 2014, they used to let you create 10, 15 different lists. Now it's a lot less. It might even only be one with a free version. So it's not as easy anymore unless you do pay for that opportunity. So now that we have all the information on database, content, segmenting your database, we want to create a consistent way for us to get our newsletters out there. I personally recommend once a month is good for real estate. If you really want to be ambitious, then every other week. Every week might get too much for yourself and for people who are reading your newsletter. So at least once a month, I feel like that's a really good pace to stay in touch with people. So I want to hear from you guys now. What are some newsletters that you enjoy getting, that you regularly get? Just want to find out, what are newsletters that you're getting? Feel free to type it in the chat box. All right, so talking about creating a consistent schedule, that's one of the most challenging things to do, is to be consistent. You want to create a schedule you can commit to. That's why I suggest once a month. Once a month is not too much, and you don't feel like um what was the question? Can you please go over the subject line, how to write catchy subject lines to get people to open the email? So nowadays, so I'll touch on the subject line a little bit. The shorter the subject line, the better. People like short subject lines. You don't want to write like a whole paragraph or a whole, like, I try never to take up the whole space in a subject line that give you a certain number of characters, because really when you are looking at the emails on your phone, they're truncated. You can't see the whole subject line. So the first 3 or 4 words need to be the ones that stand out. Also, when it comes to subject lines, make it have a hook if possible. So a hook means you're sharing information, but they're not getting the full gist of it. The only way to get that is to open the email. So Erica, for example, I know you've done skincare before. If you are selling skincare products, you might say the best way to protect yourself from the sun this summer, the best sun protection this summer. Okay, so people are like, oh wow, I want to know that. It's hot. I'm going out a lot. I need sunscreen. So make it something that people will want to know more about after reading the title. So with the schedule, I always recommend for you to put it on your calendar. Okay, so put on your calendar the day that the email is going to go out every single month. It can even be recurring, because you are going to be trying to do it consistently. So if you have it the 3rd Wednesday of every month, put that on your calendar as a recurring calendar. And then next, also put on your calendar a date where you're going to complete the email newsletter draft. So you need a date to send it out, but you also need a date to complete the draft, so you have time to review it, to look over if there's any typos, and that needs to be in your calendar, just like sending out the newsletter. Okay, and then the date to send it out, again, you want to have that date, like I mentioned, consistently. Have both these dates consistently. So, okay, so I'm going to do a quick recap, and then we have time for some Q&A, and I'm going to go over and pull up some newsletters to see if you guys want to see any, or if you guys have any examples of ones. But I've always liked to leave more room for Q&A, so I'm not just talking at you the whole time. And if you don't have questions, no worries, at least you've gotten some valuable information. We talked about today how to build your database, basic ways to do that and get started if you're not already building your database. And if you are, just continue doing it. Email content that converts, talking about how to really create content to get people to take that next action. We talked about segmenting your database, really figuring out the different lists of people that you want to market to and the different messages you might have for them. So giving a message to someone who is going to be a first-time home buyer is a lot different than a message to someone who is purchasing their 5th home. Really creating that difference. Now, if you are doing a general newsletter that's kind of just updates in general, that is okay to have everyone on the same list, because I have a list that has everyone on there, and then I have different lists. It's okay to send emails to everyone if they mostly can relate to everyone. And then you want to create a consistent schedule for sending out that newsletter. So when you have these things and you put it together, you can really create a newsletter strategy that works for you, that is not taking up too much of your time. Because when you have this monthly thing that you're doing, you can just create a template. 1 month, you send out a newsletter, Maybe it has your intro, it has a just sold or a just listed, maybe it has a testimonial, maybe it has a cool article. Repeat that every single month and just switch out the different areas in the newsletter. So switch out the new home for sale, the new home sold, switch out the new article about the industry. Having that foundation is key to being efficient with creating your newsletters. All right, so any questions so far? Because we've gone over a lot of information. I talk fast and I try to break it down for you, but I also know that people have questions. They don't always take in everything right away. So let me know if there's any questions you have. And I love making these sessions interactive. So don't be shy. Feel free to jump in and say hello. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this on replay, but what's the line underneath the subject line? Line underneath the subject line. I'm not really sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about, oh, that's the preview text. So I'm looking at my email, and if I get an email, and then it'll say something below it, the line, that's kind of a preview text of what's in the email. Now that you only have a few sentences to show up. Anything longer than that is not going to show up. Okay, so definitely be mindful of what you're putting there. Don't feel like you have to cram everything into the subject line and everything into that line below it. Okay, if you try to cram everything in, you're not going to get anything in. If you are strategic and you start small, then you're going to get more value out of the subject line and also the preview line. So that's a great question. Thank you for bringing that up, Erica. Anyone else? Questions? Okay, so let me see if I can show some email newsletters here. So I stopped sharing the slide for just a second. Okay, so let's see. And don't mind my emails, because I feel like I'm one of those people that has a lot of emails in my inbox. So let's see. I'm looking for an actual newsletter to see if there's something that's a newsletter. Now, some are not newsletters. They're more just regular emails. I'm looking for an actual newsletter. Okay, so here's one. Let me pull it over here and see. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no, I think I just deleted that. All right, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to go back to the screen share to see if you guys can see it. Again, don't mind the number of emails in my inbox. Some people freak out when they see it. I just leave like spam emails and junk emails in the inbox. So, all right. So this is a newsletter company called Rosie Network. Check out the latest issue of Military Entrepreneur magazine. So they are promoting a magazine. And the first thing that you get there when you open it is the information on the magazine. So you know what? I realized this is not necessarily a newsletter. I thought it was because it's titled Rosie's Newsletter. So I thought it was a newsletter, but it looks like it's more just a promotional email now that I look at it, which is okay because you can have these too. But when you think about it, a newsletter is something, oh, you know what? I have one. So I know someone that would have a newsletter. A client of mine. Let me put this. Okay, so here is a newsletter from a lender. Oh, it's not showing up. And it is called the Mortgage Minute. For some reason, it just disappeared. So I just had it in front of me. Let me try to pull it up again. And again, feel free to chime in, you guys, if you have any questions on this. Oh, okay, I see what happened. I think it just closed my email chat box altogether. So if you guys have any newsletters that you want to show an example of, feel free to let me know. Let's see here. All right, I got signed out, so I'm signing back in. So this is an older newsletter. So I'm not sure, where is it not? Okay, here we go. All right. This is an older newsletter. It's Mortgage Minute from Alex. And it is kind of talking about last month, I spent 3 days in Los Angeles, California Association of Real Estate Brokers Conference. And again, this is kind of an intro, something personal. It's not necessarily like sharing his deepest, darkest secrets, but it's saying that he went and traveled last month and he got motivated by it. And that's a great way to start off by really creating that personal connection. And then he has talking about a roadmap to buy your home. He's section about money talks, talking about money and all things related. And then in season, which is more something fun, checklists for clean your home, a testimonial, and then a way to connect. This is very basic. It's a very basic newsletter. Again, it doesn't have a lot of flashy images, but it's something that gets you in front of people. So people are able to see it and they're able to get reminded of you when they need to get someone to do lending. So it is something that definitely will put you in front of people. It doesn't have to be something that is really fancy or high end. It just needs to really give people an opportunity to connect with you, to see you in their inbox. So it's an example of one. All right, any questions so far? So I'm going to share a couple things if there's no more questions here, and I'll check the chat box as well to see if there's any questions in the chat. All right, so let me close this up. I want to go back to the PowerPoint slides. We'll do a quick wrap up, and we can also go around for any Q&A if you'd like. But these sessions are, again, are meant to be ways to really just give you some information about a marketing topic and to motivate you to get started. So we don't have a whole lot of time in these trainings. So I do as much as I can to pack in information that you can apply right away. So keep in mind and remember that you are your best marketing asset. That's a quote by me. There's no one else that can really promote or market you or sell yourself better than you can. So it's your job. You were in charge of it, and be confident in the way that you put yourself out there. As a thank you for being here today, if you haven't already taken my newsletters course on LinkedIn Learning, I highly, highly encourage you to do so. If you are a premium member, you have free access to all the courses. And if you are not, let me know and I will send you a link to watch the course for free. When I send you the link, when you open it, you have 24 hours to watch it before they try to ask you to pay. So just make sure when you open it that you do watch it right away. It's about maybe 30, 40 minutes. It's not a whole long course. If you don't want to watch the screen and the graphics, you can even play it in the background. So I really recommend this training. It's one of my most popular trainings on LinkedIn. It is definitely going to emphasize a lot of what we talked about today, go into a little bit more detail, and give you valuable information on your newsletter. So that's all I have for you today. To get the bonus course, again, you can add me on LinkedIn and message me directly, or I will send it out to you when I get this training downloaded. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me. Melody here with Marketing Melody and SDAR, Marketing Your Way to Success. And I will see you next month. I'm going to stop the recording, but I will stay on if there's any questions. So thank you all so much. All right, stop the share.